What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the StayWeighedIn YouTube channel. It's a Sunday. I'm joined with my man Sugar Ray. It's the podcast. How are you doing, man?
Finally getting my body clock used to the UK again after my short but fruitful trip to the States. Shout out New York. So yeah, back in London representing as per. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm good. The sun is shining, so we can't really complain. But yeah, let's just quickly do that before we talk into this. So how was New York? You put
It
up
was
some...
good, man. Sorry, go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say you got in that media day, so how was that as well? Let us know that experience. Inside.
That was very unexpected. Like I said in the video, Abbas had put in the group, and I was just like, oh yeah, let me go by Gleason's gym just to visit. Get in there around 11/12, and then I just see that, oh, like they're doing media day. Like, what a coincidence. And then I remember, I think media day started at 1, so I had to kill like an hour, but like the vibe in the gym, everyone's just training anyway. Even throughout the media day, people are still training, so you're just in that environment taking it all in. And next thing I know, media day starts and they didn't kick me out. So I said, listen, I put my sheet down on media credentials. And next thing you know, I'm taking footage. I'm speaking to fighters. I'm taking it all in. And man, what a day it was. It was like very good vibes in there. Shout out Gary Antoine Russell, Danny Garcia, just everyone that like fought on that card, friendly people, nice people. Shout out Gleason's gym, very hospitable gym. And yeah, it was nice. And shout out Maestro as well for showing love when I introduced myself to him. He showed love throughout the whole time. And then even when I came to the fights, I met him there. We like sat together, politics about boxing, and then got some good seats as well. So I can't complain.
No, I was gonna say, and if you want to do check out that little interview, it is on the YouTube channel. So go ahead, leave a like, share, subscribe, and also subscribe to Maestro's account as well.
Indeed.
With that being said, I think now we're in August, the start of August. We're kind of in officially what I would call the second half of the boxing calendar.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's kind of been a topic of discussion is pay-per-views. I think in August, September, we do have a few pay-per-views, and the first one I want to talk about is the cost of pay-per-views. Something that's happened recently is Joshua and Usyk Joshua 2 was confirmed to be on Sky Sports, and they boosted the price up for the pay-per-view fight. And I believe, to my recollection, it's the most expensive Sky Sports box office fight. And it kind of turns some fans away, saying we're in a cost of living crisis and you're putting up the price, even though we know that to get this fight, it is kind of expensive in terms of the bidding. So my first question to you is pay-per-view pricing too high right now?
Yes and no. Yes, if you are in the US for one, because damn, them not get hit with a pay-per-view every month. And I'm just like, I don't know how you guys do it, because their pay-per-views is over £50 every single time. Here, it's pricey, especially is like if you just want to watch it by yourself, it is pricey. But obviously, I think for myself and people are like, I might want to watch with a group of people at someone's house. So it might just be a case of, all right, everyone just chip in, let's make a night of it. Or a lot of people might be like, let's go to the pub, let's make a night of it. And I think, like you said, during like the financial times right now, it is a bit. And I guess for me, I can't take it out of my mind just putting in comparison to other places, namely the US, where it's like, because I know what their price point is.
Yeah.
It makes me look back at the UK's price point of like, yeah, it's a bit of an inconvenience, but it's not the worst. And especially if the card is good, it's not terrible. It's not like I've seen some cards where Ortiz Ruiz, where it is an absolute terrible price point and the card looks horrendous. Or even Ortiz first Charles Martin, like horrendous price point, horrendous card, horrendous main event. Like it just wasn't even worth it for pay-per-view at all. But fights have to get paid. So this one, I guess, because of the special occasion, because of the circumstance, because of the huge ramifications of like what happens with whoever wins this, it's justifiable. I'm not saying it's right, but I understand.
But I think you said something in terms of the undercard and stuff. So a lot of things, the way I look at it is, when it comes to something like the UFC, for example, you can have a stacked card and it's on BT Sport. You're not paying extra for the pay-per-view. So I guess in some ways, when you look at it from a pay-per-view standpoint, like say if you've got Usyk versus Joshua, you've got the headline act, and a lot of promoters, not saying Eddie Hearn would or whatever, but they will not stack the card but charge the pay-per-view price. Is that sometimes a turn-off for fans when you know the alternative is, right, I'm paying for my BT Sports subscription, but I've got a UFC card and I know 3 out of 5 fights I'm going to be tuned, I'm going to be locked in as a minimum. Is that turning fans away though?
I think this is the point where the fans need to speak with their money then. Stop buying like undercut pay-per-views. And that will solve the problem. A lot of people will complain and be like, the pay-per-views, this, that, and a third. And then you'll still pay for it. And it's just like, and that's not me wanting to undercut the fighters, because I'm always on the fighter side. Get as much as you can get paid because it's a dirty game. At the same time, there's like some poor cards that have come out, and I just won't complain about it because I'm just like, I won't pay for it. Simple. It's that simple. Just don't pay for it. If you feel like the card is not worth your money, stop paying for it. Stop complaining. Just don't pay for it. Whereas this card, at least in the UK, when it comes to boxing, we don't get a high volume of pay-per-views. So then that's why when a pay-per-view does come out, I'm not always in a state of, oh my goodness, I can't believe this, that, and the third. We get, 3 or 4 pay-per-views per year. Maybe every quarter you get one big pay-per-view. Like, stop complaining. Like, you're being ridiculous. Like I said, if you see how they suffer in America, where it's like every single month, every top fight is pay-per-view, and the fact that the pay-per-views cost like over, $60 and only the main event is good, that's when you should complain. That's where you should be raising hellfire. But in the UK, I'm sorry, man. I understand there's a financial crisis, etc. But at the same time, this is like one every quarter. It's not like it's going to be all the time. And this is a big fight and a good card. So I was in Ghana when they were doing Fury versus Dillian White. And I heard that undercard was horrendous. And people still pay for that pay-per-view just for Fury. So it's like, what do you want? Do you want to pay, a bit under, but all you want to watch is the main fight? Or do you pay a bit more, but you do know that you're getting your money's worth?
I think this is where sometimes, and we're going to touch on this one soon, but I think Sky could implement this where if you are a subscriber, you get the pay-per-view at a cost price. I think BT could do that. And I feel like then there might be that thing where, okay, you're changing the rules and it's like an incentive for people. It's interesting to say America because, and I might be wrong, so someone correct me in the comments, but I think Floyd Mayweather did something where you got a starter price, and after a certain amount of tickets sold, it was and then it went further forward. So it was a case of get your incentives in. And also, this might be another one. It was a case of you purchase it at this particular price, but then if you want it in 1080p, it was this much.
That's nuts.
That is. And I guess when you look at that,
whoever invented that, you have to swing them. That is crazy.
I might be wrong on that, but I remember the Floyd Mayweather one definitely was.
That sounds familiar. The whole like, if you want it in better HD, you need to pay more. For me, that is pure gluttony and greed.
But it's interesting you said about pay-per-views and the fact that we don't have a lot.
Yeah.
DAZN launched a pay-per-view subscription here in the UK, and it's interesting because you've got a lot of people, if you look at their comments, say, well, the price plan is, if you're already a subscriber, the pay-per-view, I believe, is £12 extra. However, if you're a new subscriber, it's about £20 for the full month, including DAZN and the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because of how DAZN's model initially was, are fans right to be annoyed by it because now you're charging extra whilst asking for a subscription?
Yes and no, because the pessimist in me always said at some point they will use pay-per-view. There's no, in my mind, I was just like, if you think they are going to keep a big star like Canelo on there without pay-per-view, it is crack that you're on. there's no way. The way I see it is similar to cinema. You've got your Netflix, you've got your Disney Plus, you've got all these other, streaming sites. However, when premium films come out, guess what? Disney have Disney Plus, but they still say for premium films, go cinema for that. Because at the end of the day, they put more budget into that. They need more, return on investment. So that's the way I see it. It's like going to see a film. It's like having Disney Plus and realizing, cool, you've had all these series and all this content that they've given you throughout the year. But then, one series may culminate in a film. And then when that film comes out, they're like, all right, cool. You can go cinema for that one.
Yeah.
The same way I see it with DAZN is that they give us a certain amount of content and then they go, brilliant. They're basically the Netflix of boxing. And I actually like that. I just feel like they need to maybe put on more. This is where their hands are tied behind their back, because people will be like, DAZN needs to put on more shows. Fair enough. But then the more shows you put on, you may not always get the best output. It's not like the UFC where it's just like the one major, mixed martial arts organization. So you got the creme de la creme fighters on there. They've got like 500 people on the books or more. Whereas other promotions is like you don't have that many fighters on the books to be. UFC have, they obviously have their pay-per-views in America, and they have I guess we would call it marquee events in the UK, because I think BT Sport only have an obligation to do, I think, 2 or 3
per year. Yeah.
And even that was controversial here, understandably, because we're not used to playing for pay-per-view for UFC. But anywho, that's another subject. But then obviously UFC have their fight nights, and like their fight nights are very high quality. But the difference is they've got a massive team and a massive amount of fighters signed to them to do that. Whereas I feel obviously DAZN signed exclusively with Matchroom and Golden Boy. So I don't know if it's a case of maybe DAZN needs to sign maybe another promotion so that we can get more boxing content. But like I said, the pessimist in me didn't not see pay-per-view coming. And as long as the pay-per-view prices stay, I'm not trying to be funny, paying something like £10 for pay-per-view in addition to your subscription is not that bad.
Yeah.
But for me, but maybe
we
didn't consider people's circumstances, but I don't think it's not the worst.
Got frustrated was the fact that, so in the UK we're paying for the pay-per-view, but it's the timing that the fight's on.
Oh, so yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That is accommodating UK fans, but we've been now asked to pay for that because they've got the marquee audience. So I guess that's where people got frustrated with it. But there's interesting things you said. I understand the Canelo thing, and I'm okay with that. When it comes to YouTube boxing, you've been a critic of this. I've been for it. However, when it comes to YouTube, you got the KSI, it was Alex Wasabi fight, and now it's Hamza's fight. For that to still be an August pay-per-view, and then September you have Canelo, that's where you see where fans could get a bit frustrated with that, and they should probably say, okay, cool, give me the KSI fight, the normal subscription.
No, because they're two different markets. Let's be serious. There's very few people that's crossing over from the YouTube boxing to actual serious boxing. There's probably people from the YouTube world that might know of Canelo, but for them it's just like they know this Mexican ginger guy that's famous. They might not even know why Canelo is famous, but they just might recognize his face because he's a famous guy. They're tuning in to watch KSI. So that audience is tuning in for that pay-per-view, and that is completely fine. Go in, watch that pay-per-view, pay for it, and then they're probably not even going to resubscribe to DAZN. You're going to have some residual fans, but in general, it's like KSI was already doing pay-per-view for his fights anyway. So for them paying pay-per-view for this is a no-brainer. If I'm DAZN done the smart thing in signing up KSI, because obviously with a lot of traditional boxing fans, you've got cases where they are, how do I describe it? A lot of traditional boxing fans, it's like a situation where My mind's gone blank for a second. Oh, that's it. Like traditional boxing fans is like the difference is that the YouTube guys are gonna come in, they're gonna watch KSI, then they're gonna bounce. And they've already paid for pay-per-view for KSI. So for the DAZN, they're probably looking at it like, cool, all your online presence, all your fans, sorry, are normally from online presence anyway. So they're not gonna mind paying for that pay-per-view because that's even more numbers for the DAZN. Whereas traditional boxing fans, here's my original point. Traditional boxing fans is a situation where a lot of them are still people that just want to watch it via Sky or via normal TV.
Yeah.
A lot of these people still don't even have smart TVs, hence why it's harder to sell the DAZN to them. But to sell the DAZN to YouTube boxing, it is absolutely smart because the fact that is YouTube boxing, your presence is purely online. So that's, for me, that's smart of them. I don't understand. I don't see what the problem is. The YouTube fans always gonna pay pay-per-view anyway, and yeah.
Do you know what? I
I don't
think
get their gripe.
I'm okay with DAZN. Like I
Mhm.
don't mind DAZN's pay-per-view structure. I think I'm kind of with you in the sense that it's not in a sense, it's not going to kill the bank because also you
Yeah.
get a month amount of content, so you're okay with that.
Yeah.
I do think though, I think single priced events
Mhm.
should be capped at 1995.
Yeah.
I
That
think
I would agree with. That I would absolutely agree with. I think here's the issue though, because obviously I think from my understanding, Sky's only changed their model now because a lot of people, what they've done over, like, let's say the last 5 years, is that Sky used to be, you know, the premium service for TV. Like people will buy Sky and then you get all these channels. As time goes on, people are just like, I don't care about, you know, I don't want movie channels. I don't want documentary channels. Someone might be like, I just want news and sports. Or someone might just be like, I just want kids shows and documentaries, whatever. But then before with Sky, you had to pay like £60 plus for all these collective channels. Yeah. Whereas now people have gone back to, it's almost like building blocks where I'll pay for this streaming service, I'll pay for that streaming service. And everyone now has multiple streaming services that they paid for, but at least it's tailored towards what you want. And so with Sky, I don't know. Is it I'll need to double check. I'm not sure if they're doing it through Now TV or such.
Yeah,
But
you can still order it if you got. I think if you've got Now TV, you've got it. You can still
yeah,
order it through there. It's not really a problem, and it just pops up on your TV like normal.
yeah, and I think that's the thing. That was the issue before, because it's like now I think a lot of those old school TV channels are only starting to clock on now. Okay, listen, not everyone wants to pay for all these Sky channels, so give us an exclusive app of Sky Sports or give us an exclusive app of BT Sport. Pay-per-view is not going away. I know what the DAZN tried to do. It was a nice attempt, but if you have big stars want big checks, and boxing is too far gone with its model to ever change that. As much as people attempted, and the DAZN made a good effort to try to change it, they did, but they just learned the hard way. Pay-per-view has to stay. But I think what the DAZN done, which was good, was try and minimize the amount of pay-per-views, and is like how they give their content is different to how others do. So I think that's where the main difference is, and value for money.
What I will say is before we wrap up is what I don't want to go through is a model of DAZN having one premier fight per month
Yeah,
and charging that, because I feel like that's going to shy off customers because they're going to think, right, we're paying this subscription. Nothing's premier about this subscription. It's just good. So what's the point in that? And I feel like, whereas this is the one thing I'll say with Sky. Sky can't have Boxer. Boxer can put on good events or solid events, and it's not going to cost you. So I think so personally. I think
that's with the that comes with an asterisk. But I want you to finish your point, then I'll answer that.
I feel like Boxer, they can put on good events to get you in the mood to be able to watch boxing and stuff, and showcase up and coming fighters. However, I do also think on these Boxer cards, if that fighter gets elevated or when he or she does, they'll move them onto pay-per-view as well. So I think that.
Listen, let me tell people something.
Whereas Frank Warren's a bit meh, personally.
That one is like even like the Joe Joyce versus Joe Parker pay-per-view
Yeah.
is stupid. That is Joe Joyce, and credit to him as a fighter, he is not a commercial star yet. And I think he's doing Joe Joyce a disservice because I feel like if they made a big event on just normal subscription, that will get more eyes on Joe Joyce rather than putting Joe Joyce behind the paywall. Because then a lot of people are going to be like, I don't know this guy to deliver like that on big cards for me to be paying pay-per-view. So I think that's a disservice. And the same thing with Boxer. Let me tell you something. It's not that Boxer being these nice people. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, Sky Sports ain't doing no. They have no pay-per-view star right now because guess what? When it was Khan and Brook, they showed you straight away, bam, we will do pay-per-view. Boxer, right? Sky Sports Boxing and Boxer right now are in a period where they're trying to rejuvenate the boxing scene for their promotion. Hence why there's not as much pay-per-view. But you see the rumors regarding cruiserweight, like they're trying to bring in Lawrence Okoli. You saw the good fight that they put on with Chris Billum-Smith and Isaac Chamberlain. They're trying to get big cruiserweights onto Sky, and I bet you any money, if the plan goes like the way they would like, and you see how they're angling towards Richard Riakporhe becoming this big cruiserweight star, if they can sign Lawrence Okoli, they will make that a pay-per-view fight, or at least they will build Lawrence Okoli and Riakporhe's profiles to the point where maybe by the end of next year, they'll make them pay-per-view stars.
Quick question then before we wrap up. Do you think Taylor Casserole will be pay-per-view?
No. It can't be. Because it's still not. Maybe in Scotland exclusively, but not the rest of the UK. Because that's another fight as well. Why do that to Josh Taylor when you're trying to up his profile? Let Josh Taylor go out there, get his profile up more, and then do the pay-per-view when he has an opponent that can, make him look even better. But this is one thing I think people underestimate Eddie Hearn with in terms of making a star. He knows a lot of the time when to, let his fighters be on this normal subscription and then when to push them onto pay-per-view. And there's a few awkward times when there were some fights with Matchroom with Sky and people are just like, this isn't worth pay-per-view. But it was more of a case of you've got a big fighter like Dillian White Chisora, for example, where it's like you can't pay for them. You can't pay that fight unless it's on pay-per-view. And now there's less of a case with those type of fighters out there. Maybe that's the case with Joe Joyce with BT Sport, where they're like, we can't afford to pay you unless we do pay-per-view. But the only issue is, at least with Dillian White and Chisora, those are household names. Joe Joyce is not a household name yet to be doing that. Because if I remember correctly, they tried to make Joe Joyce versus Dubois pay-per-view, and then it kept on getting delayed because of COVID. And that was the biggest blessing in disguise because I don't think as much eyes would have been on that fight if it was pay-per-view. So hence why I'm thinking this fight is a mistake. But I mean, putting this fight on pay-per-view is a mistake.
Shout out. Fine, but mistake to put on pay-per-view. But with that, we are going to wrap up today's episode. But before we go, we want to hear you guys' views about pay-per-views. Are you pro pay-per-view? Are you anti pay-per-view on pricing? What's your views on it? Do you get excited when you hear certain fights are on pay-per-view, or would you rather see them on just commercial TV? As always, guys, like, share, subscribe. We've got a big month coming up in August, September as well. So we're going to throw out the content for yourselves as well, and we want to get you guys involved as a conversation. With that, though, Ray, I'm going to give you the final words before we wrap up.
People, have a lovely week, have a lovely month, and stay weighed in.
And with that, guys, love and peace.